Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Absolute BSS Pod, the casualpetitive look at Bandai Namco's Battle Spirit Saga. I'm Cameron, one of your hosts, and I am joined by Angel and Eric. Once again, how y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. How's everybody doing? Glad to be back on the show like usual and here to talk some BSS.
Time to BS about some BSS with my BFFs.
Oh, man, absolute BFFs. That's what we should have gotten on the shirts.
Oh, man.
Oh, be like that episode of SpongeBob had the theme song going.
That's right.
Friend is for friendship.
Yeah, we're chilling. Welcome back. We are very excited for Angel and Eric to be going to the Tulsa Grand Open this upcoming weekend, probably by the time you're listening to this. Tulsa, Oklahoma Grand Open. So we're going to be talking about the preparations that they've been making, the playtesting that we've been doing, and some of the discussion that we've had in the Discord. And one of our guys in the Discord is also going to be at that Grand Open, so that's really, really cool too. So we've been in full swing, full playtesting mode here the past couple of weeks to get these guys ready. So, but before we get into that, let's talk about what we've been up to, maybe outside of Battle Spirits.
Eric, you can take it. I talked first last time.
All right. You want me to go first? All right. Well, obviously you've been playtesting a lot of Battle Spirits, but also been hanging out in the Discord quite a lot. It's been really fun. Like you mentioned, we've been chatting with a lot of people in there. So if you're not a member of the Absolute BSS Discord, please join. There should be a link down in the description or in the show notes if you're listening to the regular podcast, not on YouTube. It's just been so fun, like having people hop in and out of conversations, playing some games in there, talking to people. So
yeah.
Same thing for me. Been practicing and playing a lot of different Battle Spirits with Eric and trying different decks out. But apart from that and this heat wave, I've been trying to stay hydrated, drinking lots of water. But I also been on Twitch just watching a lot of different players, just try to get these Marvel Snap goodies and Overwatch goodies. So while playing Marvel Snap myself. So that's it. Really, just been trying to chill, getting ready for this Grand Open in a couple of days. So it's gonna be hot in Tulsa. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So
good luck to both.
I've heard from a member of our Discord that apparently this convention center does have good AC. So that's good news.
I'm excited for it. If not, I'm bringing 2 packs of deodorant and a bunch of Vax spray.
Yep. I was going to say, definitely pack.
And it ain't for me. It's for everybody else.
That's
You're going to start spraying other people.
More lemon pledge. It's like...
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite Twitch streamers?
So, I like... I'm probably going to say his name wrong, but Dexter, I think is his name, or Deck,
yeah.
D-E-K-K. I like Molt, Kibler, just a few. Yeah, a lot of them are honestly transitioned from, I think, all the other games I play, like Hearthstone, Legends of Runeterra. I think some more even in Magic the Gathering. So I kind of stick with that same community because I feel they at least know what they're talking about without being opinionated, one side or the other. So that's what I usually watch. So
yeah,
nice.
That's awesome. I've been helping these guys every now and then with some play testing. I finally got some physical Lorcana product over the weekend, so that was really exciting. Yeah, it was crazy. I guess the store that we all met at is got the 8th most supply of Lorcana, and that still wasn't enough. For everybody, obviously. But so shout out to Tabletops Hobbies and Games, Josh, the owner there, for really pushing hard to get some allocation for the locals and making it a very easy process. We just lined up out the door. They came out and gave us numbers, let us in a little early so we could sit in the AC instead of, outside blocking the fire lanes and stuff. They called our number and allowed us to have one max of each separate thing. So, for example, I got 1 booster box and 1 of each of the 3 starters. And opened those on stream the other day. I don't know if I uploaded that yet. I might throw that up on the Absolute BSS YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who would love to see that. So.
Yeah. So we got some fun stuff. I found a TTS mod for the game. So I'm after Grand Open, I'd love to get some games in with you guys there.
Dude, I'm down. I want to play that game so bad.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. I don't know if I put up the I think I did. I think I put up the picture on the Discord. Maybe it's on my Twitter. But what did you feel about the booster box? Just how it's packaged, I guess. Because I've been hearing a lot of complaints how people have been taking packages out and repackaging on the side. So
It's flimsy. The box that these cards come in is really flimsy. It's really small. Oddly
is it even
enough,
sealed, like shrink sealed, or no?
mine was.
Okay.
Yeah, mine had the wrap on it. The deck boxes are nice, but yeah, the booster box itself, I could see how that would be a problem, and that's really unfortunate. Again, like, you gotta, I mean, if you can, it's so hard, but like, you gotta get them from a trusted source, I feel like, because otherwise, like, people are just, ruining everything for everybody. Yeah.
The price
Well,
of those
those
cards
enchanted-
already are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is those enchanted rare cards are so pricey. It's like no wonder people are doing shady shit.
Well, just all of it, like I opened a bell, right? And so it's like, the rarity right under enchanted, not even foil. And Eric's in the stream, he's like, that's $25. And then I opened the same bell, but it was hollow, still not enchanted, and that's $85. Like, people just want these cards. Crazy. And like, the packs are kind of weird too, because like, you'll get nothing in one pack, and then in the next pack you'll get like 2 of the legendaries, and then like another like shiny foil rare. Like, it was kind of weird. It wasn't as exciting as some of these other games. Which,
yeah, I thought the guy, I forget what his name is, creator. I saw a YouTube video when the first the game came out. I thought he said that it was guaranteed that every pack you would get. Maybe it was a hollow or a rare.
You get,
maybe.
Yeah, every card in the game, all 204 of them have a hollow version. Like all the commons, uncommons, rares, legendaries. Okay. So you do always get something shiny in the pack. But like, sometimes I wouldn't hit like the orange symbol at all for a couple of packs, and then in the next one I would get like 3 in a row. But after all was said and done, there were only 29 cards of the set that I didn't at least get one copy of. So that's not bad.
Damn.
That's not
bad at all.
That's really good for one box and 3 starter decks. That's really good.
I definitely have like stuff to build some budget decks, and I'm looking around for some events around my area, and I think I found a couple. So I'm pretty excited to just get out and start playing this game again, because it feels a lot like Keyforge. But yeah, we'll definitely all have to play. We'll put some videos up on the YouTube for that.
I'm excited.
And
looks fun.
Yeah, and I also got one-piece starter decks finally. So I ordered the first one, Monkey D. Luffy red starter deck, like the original one that came out last year. The listing on Amazon said it was going to be in English, and it showed up and it was just fully Japanese. So I had to send that back and get my refund, but I did find a store near me that had the 2 latest ones. So it's Monkey D. Luffy, but it's black, and it has different characters in it, and it plays differently. And then I got Yamato, who is yellow. And so I finally have 2 English starter decks, so I'm going to be able to play physically. And then again, found a TTS mod for that game too, and I'm really, really excited to finally give that one a shot. So that's pretty much it for me. I've been, playing Marvel Snap, Legends of Runeterra, and Pokemon Unite because I hate myself. But
but yeah, people have been complaining about Pokemon Unite already. I was like, oh my god, like,
dude,
I saw your tweet about that, Cam. I
was so fed up today. I'm just like, okay, every single
It's gonna be our saltiest episode ever.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It's the heat, man. We were talking before this. Yeah, we're gonna be feisty. We got a topic in the tank for later on in the episode that we're gonna get feisty, I think. But every time a new character comes out in Pokemon Unite, everyone just starts bitching and complaining, and they're like, oh, it's so broken, it's overtuned, you gotta fix this. Tencent, what are you doing? First of all, there are over 1,000 Pokemon in the game right now. There's probably like 50 to choose from. That's a lot of balancing. It's basically League of Legends already at this point, celebrating its 2-year anniversary. Mewtwo is in the game. So the problem with Pokemon that don't evolve is they do start out really powerful in this game, but also just learn your matchups and do better. 70% of the player base doesn't even know how to play lane-based MOBAs. So you're complaining about the wrong things. Fix matchmaking
unless you play like League of Legends or anything. Yeah. You don't know, like,
dude, it's so frustrating. But like for me, it's really easy to hit master every season if I just play. But like, people are complaining about Mewtwo, And I'm just like, Mewtwo's not that broken. Everyone complained about Zacian when he brought in. Everyone's complaining about Umbreon, which no one's playing Umbreon anymore except me, because I love Umbreon. So I've just been cruising up to Master this season, and everyone
League
can
of
keep
Legends
bitching.
was the same way, man. When I played League of Legends for a little bit, people go, "Oh, this champion is so broken." I'm like, it just came out. First of all, we all know that when anything comes out, it's gonna be a little bit overpowerful because they're trying to, hey, it's a new thing, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, like you learn, like you said, you learn the matchups, you learn the lane you gotta go to, and it's pretty balanced. I mean, granted,
that game is
a team-based game, but it's
balanced.
Like,
if everyone, if everyone plays the way you're supposed to play a lane game. It's really balanced. I think the problem is the matchmaking system is so wide open. They fixed it a little bit, but it is so wide open, man. It gets really frustrating. You just get dick stomped. And then like,
oh, you're a rookie? Let me put you with all veterans. Like,
luck. Exactly. And they're like, oh, they got Rayquaza. All our lanes are broken. We haven't even broken one of theirs. And you try to hit the surrender, and everyone's like, no, we're gonna push till the end. It's like, just don't waste my time. Oh, but anyway, we're not here to bitch about Pokemon. We're here to talk about Battle Spirit Saga. So I'm gonna let you guys take this one for like most of it, because I'm not going to the Grand Open, can't swing it, but I'm so excited for you two, and I don't know how to pronounce Vyric, someone in our Discord.
Yeah, I think it's. I was looking at it trying to see how to pronounce it. If we pronounce it wrong, I apologize.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I never thought to ask, because like you see it pop up in the Discord and you like know who you're thinking of or who you're talking to. But
I'm like, oh yeah, the person whose name starts with V.
Yes. So, but they're going to the Grand Open too. So I'm going to root for all three of our absolute BSS players. And yeah, take it away. How have you guys been preparing? How have the playtesting been going? What are your biggest? What do you think is going to be there, and how do you think you're going to be able to beat it? However you want to take those.
I think our biggest hurdle that I think both of us have finally crossed over. I think me a little bit sooner than Angel, but we're both over that hurdle now. Is just like what to even play.
Yeah, which that's a good problem to have, right? Like there's a lot of viable decks and good colors, and it's just really fun right now.
Well, I was really comfortable with that Brandboar deck, and then Angel helped me fix it up, and then I kind of went off in this other direction with it, and it got to a point where I was like, I think Brandboar is actually holding my deck back.
Wow.
So he actually ended up going. And now I have this totally, like, you wouldn't even believe that this list that I'm playing right now came from that other list, because it's like just so different. Like, there's no Amaranth Man, there's no Ant Queen, there's no Brandboar, there's no Lightning Aura, there's no Crag, there's no Volcanic Canyon.
Wow.
It's like the road to get there was rough. And huge shout out to Cosmic for when he posted his like mono green aggro video that like really kind of pushed me more in that direction of just really leaning into like Emerald Pincer, Thorn Prison, you know, like exhausting stuff, Needle Shot, and just going on all in full aggro. So that's kind of the build that I've been working with. But yeah, what about you, Angel? What was, how did you get to where you're at now? Like, what were you thinking going in?
So for me, it's a little the same, right? This whole set, even, you know, when it came out for Gen Con, I really want to try to play a different color, because I've been purple all of set one. I was like, let me branch out a little bit, see what else I like. So I started with a white token build. Didn't like it. Did the typical white purple. It's just boring, like super slow. I don't like playing like that.
Yeah.
I did yellow. Feel like yellow just now, at least for me. I mean, I haven't played enough yellow, but it doesn't do enough for me. So I did a little Nova red deck for a while. That was playtesting with Eric, and I actually like that a lot.
That was a good deck. That was a good deck. I'd like to see you do that.
I think most of the times I had one life and I always came back and somehow won.
Nova makes me want to play red. I played against that at Gen Con and just had a blast doing that.
And it's fun, and like especially like Nova, Dragno King, and all that. So different ideas. I don't feel comfortable enough to take that to the Grand Open just yet.
Yes.
You know, maybe the one in September. If I get a little bit more practice and I see more things what comes out of this one.
Yeah.
But all in all, after all that said and done, big surprise. I ended up back on purple. I took my my Gen Con list, and then, you know, with Eric and I play testing a lot. the more and more we played, the more and more I tweaked it. So honestly, it's not even very similar to Gen Con at all. We've added a few different things here. I think last time we played, I think it was Monday. We played for like, I don't even know, 6 hours, 7 hours.
Yeah.
And towards the end, we ended up like going back and forth on a couple things, and I switched it up. So we'll see how that does tonight when we play test a little bit. But all in all, I feel pretty confident with the list. I'm gonna try out Andrew's list a little bit later as well, just to see how that does. Maybe take some ideas off that if I like something. But so far with the list I have, I feel pretty confident. And like I was telling Eric, it's a list that while the game is going, I already know if I'm gonna end up losing or not because I know every single card and what I'm able to do and not do. So it's gonna help me in some of those longer games. I think we played a playtest game that he was playing white, and I mean we were like, dude, this would have been in time a long time ago. Like it was such a long game. Like
I was playing that Whirlpool deck that won the online tournament. Maybe it was the
I think it was the Grand Open.
Yeah, it was the Netherlands Grand Open. I played the first place deck, and that game took forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up that Netherlands deck while you guys are talking.
Yeah, but other than that, like I said, it's exciting. It's very fun. Green adds a little bit more versatility to it, but I think right now we're at a spot too where set one is just so dominant still. Set one just had all the OG good cards that, from set two, a couple of the, working Ant-Mans, Emerald Ant-Mans, people playing Thorn Prison, obviously. I felt like set two was going to change it a lot more, and it has in certain ways, but I definitely can tell, if you look at a lot of the deck lists, I mean, set one everywhere,
Yeah.
It's just like, so it's just good.
Yeah.
So I think set three is going to be much needed for this game to really open up that deck building and versatility, because now you have way more colors to deal with, and blue is going to be an annoying color to be facing for sure. So
yeah, and then the game that that it was and was intended to be, with 6 colors is going to finally be here. So set 3 is going to be really interesting, just like you said. And set 1, just on that subject, I just found a box. I put it in the Discord on Amazon. You can get boxes of the first and second set for like $37 right now. And I never opened a box of set 1, so I'm like, well, absolutely, I'm going to buy that because there are still some key pieces in really powerful cards from set 1 that are still in the meta right now, like the big pterosaur guy, King Giganorex, Derm Dyna. I gotta get my Curse Dragons and Baculus and all that good stuff. So
Absolute Ice Shield.
Yeah. I only have
what's it? A special rare Starblitz draw. I mean, set one has a lot of key cards that are in the game right now. So.
Any Nova. I don't have any Nova. I don't have Mars. Like looking for some red support finally. So I'll do an unboxing of that. But yeah, like a lot of set 1 cards still very much prominent, dominating the meta. And I think we're going to see that next weekend at the Grand Open for sure, continuing.
Yeah, I think we were having a discussion about that in our Discord as well, about purple and like additions from set 2 that I initially thought were going to be a lot more prevalent as like 4-ofs in the purple deck, like Lamorak and Reanimate.
Yep.
Like I thought those were going to slot in, but I feel like through playtesting, and I haven't playtested nearly as much purple as you, Angel, so maybe you have some more thoughts. But I feel like what I discovered is that Lamorak and Reanimate a little more like, I don't know, geared toward very specific builds and not just like general like auto includes into purple.
Yeah, so what I think, and I'm calling this now, so I'm gonna see if it's gonna be true or not. So what I think is set 2 for purple, it's gonna be more relevant when set 3 comes out with the blue, right? Because if blue's supposedly gonna be milling or discarding or destroying your opponent's deck or hand, that's where those Reanimates, the Lamoraks, the immortal effects really come more viable. And all these other cards that say discard the top 3 cards of your deck, some of the Nexuses. So that's what I think where set 2 will really kind of come and shine, is when set 3 comes out. And I think that's the pattern, right? Like I honestly think that they're doing it on purpose. Like they foreshadow things. Like, all right, this is gonna be relevant at this point. This is gonna come out at this point. Even the lore set, right, that's coming out here in a few weeks in September.
Yeah.
That's gonna change honestly, just a few key cards that I know about that I was able to read a little bit at Gen Con. Like I forget what his name is, but the Absolute Ice Shield. I don't know if it's a negate or you basically get punished for activating Absolute Ice Shield. There's the blue guy with the gun. So I think it's a couple cards in the lore set that's also gonna help out. Which that card's hilarious, but yeah.
Yeah, that guy gives like Star Wars like Cad Bane.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. I had no idea what blue is gonna look like. So if stuff looks a little bit like that, I'm in.
It's funny to me that I guess guns are just canon in the Battle Spirit Saga universe. So
yeah, I swear, if anyone tries to shoot my Pentans, I'm gonna be pretty upset. Punch the Pentan, you're getting off with a warning because you're a good card, Joker. But if you start shooting the Pentans in the lore, I'm coming for you.
Hey, now you got the Pentan, you got that cute little dog. So I don't know if he's much play, but we'll see.
Yeah, he's cool though. I definitely want one.
Yeah, the lore set looks cool.
It does look cool. But yeah, any. I mean, yeah, I guess you don't want to spoil what you guys are bringing, like exactly, or like to the T or anything.
I can talk a little bit more about what we've been doing to prep.
Sure.
I mean, we kind of both spoiled what we're playing without going into too much detail, but
right.
Kind of. So, as we were kind of discovering what decks we wanted to play, we were just playing against each other with the decks we were working on. But then, of course, that's not a very good way to round out your deck and figure out what cards you need in your deck to help with certain situations, or like what cards you need to be sideboarding to like shore up your deck's weaknesses. So we did like a gauntlet kind of thing that I think you and I have done in the past as well, Cam, and maybe you and Angel and I have done too, but just picking some of the top meta decks, pulling them into TTS, and just running our decks into them until we beat them. And just, kind of figuring out, like, it's helpful because, like, I'll play the top decks, and I don't really know how to pilot them, but honestly, me trying to figure out how to pilot them is also figure out how to beat them, because now I have an idea of, like, oh, if you don't see this card, this deck doesn't really get off the ground. Or like, this doesn't seem like it, but this is a key card for this deck. And so now if I'm sitting on the other side of if they play that Nexus, I need to Burning Force it because that card really helps them take off, or, etc. So that's kind of what we've been doing. We looked at like the on as well. Winners, the top 4 from there, and we just ran our decks into them. And I think so far both of our decks performed pretty well against all of those decks. So
that's good.
Yeah, I with that said, I don't know that necessarily like see those decks being like the top decks at the Tulsa Grand Open, but we'll definitely run into a couple of them, I'm sure.
For sure. Yeah,
so.
You gotta, it's just good practice, right? It builds that versatility, not only playing across from it, but playing with it in your hand. That's what made me like actually figure out purple. I think I was helping Eric play test something, and I played Louise's purple deck, like from one of the earlier like competitive tournaments, and I was like, oh. It just all kind of clicked. I'm like, this is what purple wants to do. This is how purple performs, at least in set 1. And that was a lot of like really good experience to gain. And I lost to Louise at Gen Con, and it's like, that's also a good teacher and good learning experience. So it's, there's some exciting stuff. I know we're seeing a lot of similar cards across tournaments, but like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's about finding those weaknesses. And actually, real quick, I'd like to bring up a card that we were talking a little bit about before we started, that I just think has definitely gotten a buff, and I'm wondering what you guys think about it as far as like sideboards or tech, and that's Flame Emperor Agnaphon. So this is the 5-cost, reduced by 2 Red Spirit Emperor Beast. At level 1 and level 2, when summoned, destroy all of your opponent's spirits with 4,000 or fewer BP that have when summoned effects. So it's very specific and conditional, but it's topical for right now with green.
I came across that card earlier today as I was flipping through some cards, and I had the same exact thought. I thought it was so funny that you brought that up earlier because I had the same thought just earlier today when I was
Yeah.
looking at the card. I was like, man, this feels like it got a lot more powerful. Because we've been talking about how Star Blast Draw has become very powerful with the when summoned effects being so rampant.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that holds this back is it's a little bit expensive and it doesn't get out of Burning Force range until you have 3 cores on it. So those are like my only 2 downsides on it. But I think, yeah, if when summons are really big and or if like green aggro, like, you know, if that becomes really big and you have like your pincers, your mushrantulas, like all stuff, like, man, you could just wipe their board.
Yeah.
So
I
I
think
think
this
it could be
card's
good.
really good just because I was talking on a Discord the other day about it, but so there's a lot of decks right now. Well, there's 2 decks that technically have it, right? And that's obviously red and purple that technically have a board wipe, right?
Right.
Yellow kind of does with Exhaust Nexus, obviously, but just in terms of spirits alone, green does not have that yet, right? To my knowledge, I could be wrong, but I don't think they have something that can complete board wipe. So I think this card is really good. That with those decks that struggle to board wipe, right? Like, you know, I have the Baculus and the Cursed Dragon if I need a board
Right.
wipe. So it's not a big deal. But for something in green, I could see this, right? Because 1, will be a surprise card. Nobody will probably be expecting you to play it. But 2, green, depending what kind of deck build you're building, green, obviously, if it's not like an aggro list. But if you're ramping a lot, I mean, you're getting cores almost every turn with green, whether it's a Spirit being forced, whether it's Worker Ant-Man, whether it's, you know, your Emerald Ant-Man if you're blocking. That 5 cost red card in that deck, I don't see it being that expensive. And I think this card has a niche in that where, like, here you go, surprise, board wipe your board, and go from there. Obviously in red, I mean, it's easy to play, right? I think we figured that out too with Star Blast Draw in red. It's so cheap. Like, oh, it only costs 2 to play this.
Yeah.
But it's a card that, you know, that's the one thing I'll say about set 2 that I like. It's cards like this that maybe you didn't see a whole lot of value because of the way the meta was just set 1. Now, oh, wait a minute, this card does have a place somewhere. And I think that's slowly popping up a lot of cards. I mean,
Yeah.
Star Blast is a perfect example. That card, I don't recall. I think maybe first got played a little bit, but after that, I don't think I saw anybody playing Star Blast draws. And now, mostly everybody, you know, either plays it or it's on the sideboard or at least play 2 stuff because when summon, right, it's a thing right now. So,
Yeah.
I like this card. I really do like this card. I definitely think it has a home. I mean, honestly, it might be kind of crazy, but probably even in yellow, right? If you're ramping with Blessed Cathedral and all that, and you need help, or even maybe a mirror match, I mean, dude, you just board wipe right there and go all in. Probably win the game. So
My thing about it is, as far as like in yellow or green, it's the same cost as Burning Force, right? But if you know your matchup, it has the potential to be much more effective, and it's a body. And I think, like, you know, we have to look at cards like that. Like Thunder Emperor Leon was kind of similar when green was popping up. I was like, oh, I might slot this guy in too as a tech. But I would argue that Agnaphon kind of does a better job against that green part of it. Like, it's there for yellow, but yeah, you're right. When set 2 comes out, you look at some of these old cards and you're like, oh, damn. And I love how they do that. It makes me really look through all of the cards in these sets to be like, I'm going to keep an eye on you because you're this close to being like really, really cool. And I want to find that tech first. So I'm just going to predict that you're going to see a few of these in sideboards at Tulsa, and then that eagle, the vulture that can kill
King Vulture.
King Vulture.
Yeah.
That card is so
dude,
cool.
Yeah, I started with that at Gen Con, and it caught a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah.
Especially in a mirror match. It's like, King Vulture, pop your death. So like, what? And that way I can save my, even if I'm still running a Burning Force or a Dream Bomb or whatever, I can save that for more bigger threats later on.
Yes.
But I would say King Vulture, honestly, and besides Worker Ant-Man, were the MVPs Gen Con for me. And I love that card. So
Yeah, super good.
Actually, for a moment, as we've been playtesting our decks for Tulsa, I was running King Vulture in my main board. Ended up going to side with it playtesting, but I do think it's quite good. I just really like, you know, I'm running an aggro list, so I really like Burning Force because I can clear the board a little bit to get in for damage. Like, you know, obviously I want a Burning Force, like a Netherworld Depths or a Blessed Cathedral or whatever, but if I just need like 2 more damage and they've got 2 little dudes standing in my way, it's nice to have the Burning Force to clear the way. But I do think that the King Vulture, probably in more like mid-range or control decks, could slot in super well.
Yeah. And we're probably going to bring this up again later on in this episode. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But yeah, so King Vulture, just in case you're not watching the video, if you don't recall, we talk about it a lot. But it's a 4 cost, reduced by 1, red Emperor Beast Spirit that says level 1 and level 2 when summoned. Your opponent selects one of their nexuses that costs 3 or 6 and destroys it. So again, kind of conditional, but that's why I think it's a really cool sideboard card. It's some high level deck theory kind of cards, and I really like cards like that in a card game. So at first, you know, you might open this card, it's a rare, and you're like, the costing is weird, like, is it really that effective? It can be, and especially honestly, against blue.
Yeah, well, another thing with that card that comes in handy too, like, I mean, for 4 more cores, it has 6,000 BP, and it has Confront, right? So
Confront
if you need
is good.
Target with that, especially with, you know, for me, like playing purple, not a lot of my little spirits really have more than, I'd probably say 3K or 4K, unless they have Curse. So if I can't get over a guy, that Confront can help me at least make you to block, and then get in with the little guys to push for damage. So it's definitely good, you know, and I think it'll just get better and better depending on, you know, how the meta evolves and what new cards get introduced. But it's up there, man. Like right now, there's a few cards that are staples for sure that, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but you know, mixed thoughts on it, where like, all right, you have these 8 or 9 base cards that you automatically need in your deck, and then let's just build around the rest. So but definitely King Vulture is one that at least in your side deck could be a surprise. And same thing like you were saying before with the other guy, it's just a spirit, right? So I'm popping something, but it's also a spirit, and that's the one thing why going to Gen Con that I thought about was like Burning Forest. I love it, it's expensive obviously, and it does pop things, but then I have nothing else left for those 5 cores. Or at least with this, it gives me a blocker or a chump blocker if I need it in the meantime. And if you're playing Starblast Draw, it gives you a little bit, a small amount of cost reduction at least. So
yeah. I'm also excited just for the Emperor Beast trait. You know, I'm a very tribal deck builder. I just think that's fun. Usually that's how games are built anyway. The only X rare we have for Emperor Beast is Leon. So I'd be really interested to see if maybe in set 3 we get like a better X rare kind of boss, and maybe a Nexus that interacts with the Emperor Beast, because there's not a ton of interaction with them. And I just think they're neat, man. Like my Flame Weasel and Lava Beast Volrus. I still haven't given up on this card. I really want to find a way. Right now I run it in my Brandboard deck, I think, just because it has that Confront and it's just a big, you know.
Yeah.
But I want some more Emperor Beast tech in the next set, and King Vulture will be cool there.
Pterosaurs kind of play into it a little bit because Gigano Rex mentions them on him for cost reduction, but
that's right.
So I mean, the Agnaphon could very well slot into a Pterosaur build.
Yeah, I think if you build it right, and if you're going against green aggro, red aggro Pterosaur Emperor Beast could edge out green. It just doesn't have the ramp of green. You know what? I'm gonna take that back. I can't confidently say that. It's so interesting.
I'll just say, when we were playtesting against the Pterosaur deck from the top 4 at the Netherlands, my mono green aggro did not have any trouble. So.
Yeah. Man. I have so much trouble against your mono green deck outside of everything but yellow.
Yeah, yellow is kind of one of my tough spots, because Alice.
I love playing yellow right now, man.
Alice is just so rough.
I wish I was going to Tulsa and taking Alice with me, man.
I so we get paired up and you could kick my ass with it.
Yes.
Man.
I love yellow.
That's what I run the Dream Bombs for, to take care of Alice, to take care of Maduke, to take care of Axe Spider.
Dream Bomb is big right now. We were talking about that in the Discord. Dream Bomb is a big one to be packing. Again,
that's
maybe in your sideboard, but at least one in your main board.
You know what I like about this game too, and just thinking about other card games I played, that like Dream Bomb, right?
Yeah.
That is literally a starter deck card.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to pay no amount of extra money. Such a staple, such a good, powerful card. Well, I'm thinking like other games, that a card like that easily $80 to $100, like in Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that. You know, where like and you need 3 or 4 copies of it. And in this game, you can have 4 copies for, you know, just buying the 2 starter decks. I mean, that's all you need, 2 starter decks. So at $11.99 or $12.99, whatever they are. So it's such a good card. Yeah, I hate Dream Bomb. It hurts my Maduki. So
that's right. Dude,
That's why I like it.
I have played so little of that like purple-white control that I didn't even realize that I do have 2 Madukes.
Dude,
Like
Maduke's
in my
so good.
personal collection. Like, because I'm
Dude,
so far removed from that, but I've lost
I joke about
against it.
Maduke. I joke about Maduke all the time, and you know, even me, I've been playing purple for so long that every time I play it or anybody plays it, you literally see the opponents. Let me pick up the card and just read what it's like, because there's so much
Yeah.
text to it, and you just want
Yeah.
to. And it's such a tricky card, you know.
And it
And it's
just
so
hurts your
lethal.
soul the
Yeah,
more
it's so
sentences you
lethal.
read.
It's a crazy.
I always
lethal
have
card.
I always have to reread Blood Curse because I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck does this do again?
Yeah.
And then even when you and I are playing your Maduke like 2 or 3 times in the same day, and I still am like, so if I take damage, it goes to the
Yeah.
void, and you're
Yeah.
like, yes, and I'm like,
Yes.
okay, because I'm like, this is
Maduke's a
very
bitch.
important.
Yeah.
This is very important for me to be able to math out what I'm gonna do.
Easily one of the best art in the game, though, is Maduke. Like one of the coolest character designs. I just got done with Shin
Yeah.
Megami Tensei 5 a couple weeks ago, and like this card
Ooh.
just reminds me of
Yes.
that world so much.
Man, I haven't heard about that in a game in a long time.
I love that
Like,
game. I really liked that game. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I love Maduke. Just want to, you know, people say Backlist and Curse is the purple leader. Maduke.
Maduke.
Maduke's the
man.
leader. The other 2 guys are just minions, but Maduke's the one. I mean, she's the one that started the whole war. I mean, come on.
That's
She's a jerk.
yeah. She
before
is.
before we move into the next section, I want to go back to something we were talking about just very briefly, and then
Sure.
that's the Nova build that you were working on for a little bit, Angel. I would
Yeah.
really like for us to revisit that at some point. I totally agree. Not really the deck to bring to Grand Open Tulsa. Main reason being, the Nova Dragons are they're tricky, and I feel like I would need to play with them a lot to know all of the different lines of play, because you can move the cores around, you know, with that awaken flash
Awaken
effect.
Flash, yep.
So it's like it's really cool, but also like I just feel like I would make so many misplays.
Nova,
Yeah.
the Nova deck to me feels like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's
Yeah.
a lot of like, here's me playing
XYZ
all
summoning or
these
synchro
things.
this. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it feels so much like Yu-Gi-Oh, which is cool. And I played against this at Gen Con. Brennan was playing this, I think, and it was just so cool to see because I'd never played against Nova. I think I sat next to Eric when he was playing Nova that first weekend, and I haven't seen it since. But like actually seeing the Big Bang go off and moving the core off of Sigworm into this guy, and he ascends, and then he spends the core, and then you get all this life back, and then you're just wiping a board up to 10,000 BP of spirits, which I was running green, so it definitely wiped how wide I was. It's just really cool to see, right? Like thematically, this big dragon just bursts out of an old one, breathes fire, just raises everything that I have.
That's a slap for the Sky Dragon right there.
Exactly. It's cool as hell, and it makes me want to play red.
It was fun. I mean, literally, I
Yeah.
built that deck. I think that same day, I think I told you, Eric, I built it like 2 or 3 hours before we were gonna play test. And it did a lot better than I thought for me building it like quickly. And I think it's one, like you said, I
mean-
think I want to play that deck. I just need to dig into it more, really spend my time and analyze every single card. But for what I did, like Big Bang Energy, I mean, my God, I literally brought out
Yeah.
like the 10 blade guy for free, some other cards for free. I had like 8 or 10 spirits like this, boom, boom, boom. So, and I had my life back. So it was such a good card. And honestly, with
Yeah.
Red having so many drawing and blowing up abilities, I mean, I just kept drawing. I kept doing things, Volcanic, Star Blast. It's a really good deck. I just think I need to refine it a little bit more, and kind of take it seriously. I kind of built it for fun just to see what I can, put together. And I like it. I mean, and honestly, I think at some point in this set before set 3 comes out, if not even this weekend, I might be surprised. Nova's gonna be somewhere. Like it's getting there. Like I've seen a lot of people
Yeah.
been talking about Nova. This set definitely made Nova a little bit better. I just gotta find what that niche is to make it to like competitively without having to worry about just that one combo. But it's a good card, man. It's a good card.
Super cool. Yeah, and the saga
I-
for it is beautiful. That card art,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just dark.
It
Oh, it's so
definitely
good.
it definitely feels like a deck that really rewards you for mastering. And I just think
Yeah.
that that's so cool.
It feels like a
Um,
Marvel Snap deck too, I would say. Like it does its one thing if you can get to it, and it does it really well. And so I feel like to play against it, you gotta like find some way to prevent it. But also, it's not as prominent in the meta that like you could be in trouble if you run against the Nova list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every time I played against your Nova deck, Angel, I think every single game you got and we didn't play a lot. We played like a few games, but you got the 5 life recovery thing to go off. And I think it's because there's a new Siege Worm card. So it's, it'll happen a lot more.
Yep. And honestly, even if you don't use the Siege Worm, you can use the Andromeda or whatever. So I think they can use that one as well. So I think you just need a 5. So I mean, it's a lot of good cards, and even some of the like lower spirits. When I was playing against Eric, like have nice little effects. Like there's one I think it's called Andromedos or something like that, where if he attacks, you get to I think pick up 3 cards and then put any Star Dragons that you draw, or maybe one of the Star Dragons, into your hand and put the rest. So you're basically going through your deck as well and reshuffling. Which I think is pretty good. So yeah, I think I like Star Dragons. They have a lot of support. I think it's just a matter of how can we get it competitive into what the scene is right now,
Yeah. So for that one, that's the starter deck one you were talking about, Nebula Dragon Andromeda.
Yeah.
So yeah, when summoned, select one of your opponent's spirits with 3,000 of your BP or one of their nexuses to destroy it. Oh wait, hold on. Were you talking about the big one? Supernova Dragon.
It should be So you can use that one you just read with Supernova Dragon because you need to be able to send 6 or more. So you don't just need your Imperial Siege Worm. You can use that one as well, which that card alone pops the Nexus as well. So
that's right. That's what kept happening to me. Yes.
Yeah, so it's good. I mean, it's literally a good card.
You do have to ascend a spirit with Siege Worm in its card name for that to go off.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. So it's the Siege Worm.
Okay.
See, that's what I mean about this deck is like it's really good, but it gets so confusing.
Yeah. So there's Imperial Thunder Dragon Siege Worm. That's the new one, right? That's the set 2. Yeah. Or no?
Yeah. Well, actually, reading it, you can actually ascend without a Siege Worm. It's just if you use the Siege Worm, you can get the health. Yeah.
Meteor Emperor Siege Worm.
Which I mean, honestly. You probably need to do that anyway. So I mean, that's what you kind of playing the guy for, apart from just to blow up. I think there was one game I played 2 Novas, wasn't it, Eric? I had like 2 Novas on board.
That's
wild. I mean, the level 2 and 3 ability is just nuts.
Yeah, like blow, like
select any number of your opponent's spirits with a combined total of 10,000 or fewer BP and destroy them.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was. I was playing my little green aggro deck against it, and then you just like I got you down to like one or 2 health, and then you're like, okay, big bang energy, everything's free, and now I'm gonna send this and go back to 5, and now I'm gonna kill all your ants. And
it does play like a protagonist deck, and it kind of plays like Digimon too. It's neat because they're evolving and they're getting new abilities. It's cool.
I'm telling you, that is like the Weevil Underwood right there. Say goodbye to all your little insects.
I want to play Star Dragon so bad. I was saying that in set 1. I was like, I think it needs a little more, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. Damn, it's fun.
I wasn't convinced that it got enough in set 2, but I think it actually did. I think that there's a deck there.
Yeah.
I think you just got to figure out the right combination of cards, and you got to master. I think you've got to like sit down and just crank out games to the point where like the deck so well that you're like, okay, you can get those turns to go off so often where you play Big Bang Energy, you get a bunch of spirits, and then you go back up to 5 life. I just think it could be a really solid build.
I really hope I get some good set 1 Star Dragons from my box that I bought.
You should, because set 1 opening is a lot better than set 2 opening.
That's for sure.
Honestly, I have like 2 more boxes to open. I look at them, it's like, do I even want to open you guys? Because it's just gonna piss me off. Like set 1 was exciting, like, oh my god, I got this, or I got an SPR, or I got that. This one just like, oh, cool, a dead box, or cool, I got this. Like,
there's something wrong with your game when I open a booster box and I get an SPR and I'm disappointed because it was like
I did that on stream with mine. I got the 3 cards and the 10 sword Saint Blade, which if I can get some Star Dragons, maybe I'll play that card. But he doesn't
Dude,
really
that card's
slot
good.
into the Nova deck, does he?
Oh, he kind of
he does.
I played
Yeah?
him. The Nova deck I built, I
Okay.
played 2 copies of him, and he actually did some damage to Eric, and he actually has a purpose. So,
Okay.
especially with the drawing ability, yeah, definitely,
Well-
it's a good card.
With Big Bang Energy, he just gets so cheap.
Yep.
That's true. I mean, yeah, he's just another Star Dragon, so might as
Yep.
well slot him in. I have 2. I have the SPR and a regular.
And he's also another he destroys something with 3,000 BP or less. If you draw a card, and if you're, for whatever reason you're struggling with drawing, you draw off that. There's a couple of Nexuses I think that do something when you draw cards. So yeah, 10 swords. I mean, he looks badass, but he's a good
does look
card. I mean, so
badass.
far,
He's super
I'm not
good.
saying like in a meta competitive deck he might be the one, but at least in the build that I've played with, he did pretty well. I did not mind seeing him because when I saw him, I either needed the draws, and I mean, unless Eric has stopped me with it, it did what it was supposed to do. So I like the card.
Would you put Dragoon Commander Dyraidalos into a Star Dragon deck? Because I think you do.
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, there's a room for him. I mean,
I think it's
he has a
kind of
purpose.
salt in the wound with that ability making him hit for 2 symbols. But like when that becomes a big deal, I think we're
Set
going to see
4.
this guy more. I'm telling you, yeah, I think so.
Set 4's gonna
Yeah.
be scary, dude. Like set 4 is either gonna make games be 10 minutes long, or it's gonna be those 2 count symbols. It's gonna be very, very scary.
If
so.
you can give Arcana Joker an additional symbol when he comes in and is unblockable, that's going to be something. Joker
Yeah.
is overperforming for our group here in set 2 so far. I really love that card.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with there's so many times when I've been playing and I just get walled out of being able to get that last damage through, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep drawing until I hit a Joker. I'm just gonna stall the game out till I get Joker.
Joker is good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
That's
find
right.
the spot for Joker in my current yellow build, and it might just be, the 51 and 52nd card. I might as well. It draws enough. I might as well get this card.
I think he's a solid one of in most. I think he's a solid one of. A lot of people are playing a one of Derm Dyna, and I think just play Joker.
I would.
Like,
It's way
Derm-
less dependent on what your opponent's running.
Yeah, the only thing with Derm Dyna, I think why people play him more than Joker is if I pop Joker somehow, whatever, let's just say it's the only card you have, Deadly Balance or whatever it might be, Derm Dyna can protect himself. If he has all the cores, he can refresh himself. So I think that's the only thing. He has a built-in protection. So maybe that's why people just feel more confident playing him. But
I'm a gambling man, Angel.
Yeah, hey. So hence you got a Joker card, right? So it's like it's just part, So definitely it's an annoying card. I hate when you play them, especially when you have like 2 of them. It's like if I don't have an absolute Ice Shield or a Dream Bomb, it's just like, all right, this is annoying.
Yeah.
Or Thorn Prison, but
Right. I'm
only
putting
do 1
2 in the deck. We'll try that again sometime.
I think that's why I like him over Derm Dyna. Actually, is because of I was joking when I said I'm a gambling. Actually, I kind of like the fact where it's like, all right, swinging with Joker. Do you have an answer? Oh, you do? Okay, I guess I lost. Oh, you
Yeah.
don't? I guess I win. Like, it's kind of fun.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. Anything else we want to add about Grand Open prep? I think we'll have a lot more to talk back. I'm definitely gonna take some notes about my matchups and how everything went.
I think it'll be exciting. This will be my second grand opening, obviously. The first one was an amazing experience besides the heat. But I think with this one being more climate control and a fun set, honestly, and the game is really fun right now where you're definitely seeing a lot more different decks than I did on the first grand open that I went to. A lot, at that point you knew a lot of mirror matches or white. It was you kind of knew we were going to play. There was only so many cards available. Where now it's either going to be the people that have been practicing all the spicy stuff behind the scenes are going to show up, and you're going to have really good players on top of that, right? So a lot of good players will be there that have probably been practicing just as much as anybody else, and they have their own little secret decks that they come out with, and we might all be shocked who wins, So I'm excited to see what the top deck would be, or even the top 8. And it'll be exciting to just, see some of those guys again that were at Gen Con, and just have fun playing the game, man, in a climate controlled environment. So we won't be too angry.
Climate control. Hey, actually, wait. I got one more question before we move on to the next topic. Angel, and I know I'm going to have to answer this question, and I don't know what the answer first. If you do make it to the top cut, are you going to the Netherlands for the Pro Tour?
Man, I will sell whatever I need to if I don't have the money to be able to go. Because absolutely, I mean, at that point,
Okay.
it's you earned that, right? So why wouldn't you go?
Yeah,
Not
you
saying it
gotta
won't
make it
happen
work.
again, right? But you put in the work, you put in the practice, and you got rewarded for it. I will
Yeah.
figure it out, So I'll sell
Sweet.
anything besides my dogs.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no
Oh,
idea you had so
I'm
much
sorry,
commitment.
and my wife. Besides
Yeah.
my wife.
Yeah.
Okay,
think-
so you're
yeah.
definitely going.
Yeah, I'm assuming your answer's gonna be the same, right?
Well,
I don't know if you'll sell
the
everything, but
the logical side of me is like, well, let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. But I know that if I do, I'm gonna be so fucking hyped that I'm gonna be like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're going. So we'll see. I don't even know that it costs that much to go there. I haven't really looked, but
I think from what I
it's-
saw, it's like $1,000, I think, for the tickets. I could be wrong, and then the hotels were kind of average. But honestly, it will be an experience, right? And it's an experience that
Yeah.
you will only get by going. And not
Yeah.
to mention, right? It's a Pro Tour, right? So you'll get an exclusive Pro Tour card, sleeves. It's almost like the top end of like I'm almost there. And if you do well at that, then you go to Worlds, but that's a whole different experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, depending how well you do in the Grand Open, right? Keep in mind there's pricing for cash, right? So depending what
Yeah.
you place on your invite, you have some sort of money that covers part of your flight there. But I
That's
don't know.
true.
I consider the Pro Tour like Duelist Kingdom, right? Like you need
Yeah.
to go, like
Yeah.
Battle Series tournaments, right? Like if you qualified and you earned that, I mean, that's gonna be a lot of rounds of Swiss, depending how many people are there. Mentally, I mean, go. I mean, figure it out, and hopefully everybody can
Yeah.
go. I mean, obviously it's easier said than done with financials, depending what your financials are like. But
Right.
I think if you can somehow pull it off, you definitely should go. Because I mean, you earned it. So
Yeah.
go get that.
Yeah.
It's a once in a
I
lifetime
think it'd be
kind
really-
of thing.
Yeah.
I think it'd
Or
be
could
really
be.
cool if both of us could go, because then I don't have to travel to the Netherlands alone, and neither.
I know, yeah,
so
yeah.
that'd-
I
that
don't
would
need
be
to, I don't
insane.
end up in some like the movie Hostel. Somebody just
Oh,
kidnapping us or
gosh.
something like that.
Oh God.
Yeah, you've heard about kidnapping decks. Now we're kidnapping
Yeah.
actual people. Jeez. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Every time
I think the
we've got Angel
Netherlands
on,
are
he's-
chill, though.
Sorry, guys.
Every time
It's
we've
like-
got Angel on, he's making jokes about kidnapping or murdering me or.
See, this is why I'm a purple player. See, like, anything dark, you know.
Oh,
It's I'm a Scorpio on top of that. I'm sorry, like it's
That's
just
so
what I
funny.
am.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
actually, I think the place where the Pro Tour is like really close to Amsterdam, right? I was looking at it on a
I
map.
think so. Yeah.
It's
That's
like old,
cool.
old. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not gonna even.
Yeah,
gonna
I'm not
try.
even gonna try. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not gonna try that.
But yeah, I think it'd be cool to go for more than. It's not really a place I've ever really thought about, but so far every time I've gone to another country, it's always been for work or something. So it's been for like it's always been places that I never would have picked to go to, but every single time I've done it, it's been like one of the most amazing. So like, I feel like this is kind of the same thing. Like I would never, because like there are a few other places I'd rather go to if I could pay, but I bet it
Sure.
would be amazing. Just experiencing another culture, eating food. I love food,
Hell yeah.
trying new foods.
Yeah.
So that's like drinking beer. I can drink beer and have good food, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
Well, to me, that's the good thing about this game, right? Because I'm in the same boat. Like, I won't travel to places normally, but playing this game, apart from meeting people, it allows me to see other cities that I've never probably would have gone, because I had no reason
Yeah.
to, right? I mean, even Gen Con, right? Like, yeah, it was for Gen Con, but I went to Gen Con because of Battle Spirit, which allowed me to go to Indianapolis, and I had a blast at Gen Con.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Columbus, Ohio, Tulsa, Oklahoma, like. When would I go to Tulsa? Like, I don't have family there or anything. So to me, it's like I'm never gonna go there. But now I'm going to, so I'll be able to experience, the culture, the heat, or the people, and it's exciting. I think it's a fun part about this game that apart from just playing the games out, you get to see different cities, or different events. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you just get to
I'm
meet
very
people
excited.
too that are enjoying the same hobby as you. Like,
Yep.
it's really, really
Yeah.
neat. I'm glad there is support for this, and I'm glad that it is kind of a worldwide thing because that's a whole new level, Like,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I'm really hoping at least one of our group does win a GO at some point.
Yeah, and that'd be
That'd be cool.
amazing.
We're rooting for
I
you.
we can do a self interview on the podcast.
Yeah, and then everyone's gonna flood into the Discord and be like, "All this secret tech."
Yeah.
They've been talking about Flame Weasel this whole time.
This whole
We didn't see
time!
it.
I love it.
I really am excited to go. While we're in Tulsa, I was telling you, Angel, I really want to go store while we're there. Because
Team Covenant.
they, Cam and I love them. They have a fantastic podcast. Although they haven't uploaded an episode in a while.
It's been a minute. I'm sure they'll do a Gen Con recap though. They stream a lot now too on YouTube.
They do, but I was really into them when I played Net. Awesome Netrunner content and incredible acrylic token games that they sell. They have awesome like subscription systems for their games too. But yeah, I'm really excited to go there to their. Also, I was going to mention, it is really cool that Battle Spirits has support for these events because it's like I went to the Netrunner World Championships, but that was in Roseville, Minnesota.
Right.
So it wasn't like it
Which
was
is
not
FFG's whole thing. They're
Yeah,
there,
I mean,
and
it
that's
was-
where Keyforge
it
World
was-
is going to be actually in that same building.
really.
Yeah, the game
Even though
center.
it's not owned.
It's not
even
owned
though
by
it's not
FFG
owned by
anymore,
them?
but the guy who bought Keyforge owns that building too.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool building. It's fun. It's like really cool. They have like a little cafe and a shop and stuff in there, and just tons and tons of seats, and it's a nice environment. But also like it's in the middle of industrial park with nothing around it, and
Yeah.
everyone's staying at. It's kind of fun though because everyone's staying at the hotel, shitty restaurants because there's only like 3 restaurants over there to eat at, and like 2 of them are food. So it's just like, it's a fun experience, but also like doesn't even compare to, if you win the Grand Open, you get to go to the Netherlands or something. Like that's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
So,
That is super cool. Well, from the Netherlands to the netherworld depths, we're gonna
oh man.
Oh man.
switch over to another topic that this is us getting sweaty and feisty here, as we probably will. Eric, it was Eric's idea to talk about some of the talk around the town about some specific cards like Netherworld Depths and the concept of bans or errata in card games. So we're gonna take a little time here. How do you want to start this, Eric? What do you think?
Well, I think first of all, because we started talking about this and then I told you shut up so we could talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
Let's continue the conversation we were before. I was like, let's save it.
Yeah.
So do you think that Netherworld Depths needs to be banned?
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no, and I'm not just saying that as a purple player. I
Right.
do not think it needs to be banned.
I also agree. I don't think so.
Okay, so we're all in
Now
agreement. Yeah, I'll start here. I understand that. Okay, I gotta reel myself in here because I could.
Do we need to read Netherworld
Depths?
Depths, or do you think if
Yeah,
someone's made
let
it
me.
like 40?
Yeah,
I was like, if they
probably
made it
know.
45 minutes into a Battle Spirits podcast, you probably know what it does. But just in case you don't,
We'll
like,
go over
maybe
it.
in the future, Depths is
Yeah.
already banned and nobody's heard about it.
And they're
it was
like,
banned
yeah,
6 months ago.
What was the problem
Yeah.
with set 1 and 2? It could be this.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Let
just
me
have
read
to
it real
future-proof
quick.
this.
Yeah, I'll read it real quick and then I'll give my thoughts on this real quick.
Also, hello, listeners from the year 2035. Welcome.
Wow. It's like that. Never mind. Netherworld Depths 6 cost purple Nexus can be reduced by 3. Level 1, level 2. Draw a card when one of your opponent's spirits is exhausted. At level 2 for 3 cores, during your attack step, when one of your spirits is blocked, you may pay 1 core from this Nexus to destroy your opponent's blocking spirit when the battle ends. So basically, you can give something curse.
Crappy card.
Yeah, shitty. It's so mid. I don't know why anyone's like even putting this in sideboards. No, obviously, especially with set 2 and all of the green exhaust, everyone immediately turned a very good card into an even better card because of that first effect. Yes, Netherworld Depths is a little expensive, but for what you're getting, what everyone I'm assuming is saying and all the hoopla is about is that it still just works in any deck. You drop this down, it is worth your cores, because this is when you declare an attack and your opponent decides to block, or when they decide to attack on their turn, or when Emerald Pincer comes down and exhausts something, or Thorn Prison, or Needle Shot, or blah blah blah, anything. Netherworld Depths is getting you cards, a lot of cards. You are finding your ice shields. You are finding your anything in any. It's the most effective draw engine in the game for every color, not just purple. And I immediately got 3 of these on our release weekend and was playing it. And I'm like, oh yeah, this card is really good. But it has become a staple. It's become a really powerful card. But overpowered? I don't know, because we've been talking this whole episode about tech to play around this card. And if it's so popular, you know people are going to run it, or you might run into it in any color. Slot in tech to your sideboards or your main boards. You're going to have to deal with Netherworld Depths. And the reason I say it shouldn't be banned is because I'm hearing all about this talk about blue and how much Nexus is going to be in there. Run the same tech that you're running now. Put your Burning Charges in, or Burning Force. Put your King Vultures. Put your there's tons of tech to
Dream Bombs. I mean, you got
Dream Bombs.
You got Dream Blizzard. I mean, there's a lot of Nexus.
There's a lot of great tech. All this means is that when something rises to the top and becomes powerful, that's how new metas are formed, and then everyone's going to be running stuff that takes it, and then that's how it gets balanced and starts seeing less play. It's like Pokemon Unite. Mewtwo, super powerful. Learn to counter it. Play against it. Play your matchups. Learn your matchups. Know that you're going to see it and react. I don't think... This game is very, very well designed. I've played a lot of card games in my day, and I've seen a lot of erratas. I've seen a lot of ban lists. I've seen rotation, obviously, but like, I don't see Netherworld Depths as a problem.
Yeah, Oh, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think that there are ways to play around it, and I think if it's not this card at the top, I think if you ban this, there will just be some other card that'll rise up top, and then everyone's going to complain about that card. So it's just the nature of playing card games. Always like, everything's balanced, but like there's one card that has, 1 or 2 cards sometimes even that just were balanced a little bit more on the competitive side. Like, this card is just balanced to be a little bit better. And there are ways to deal with it, but I think if you remove this, then there will just be another problem card later that everyone's going to complain about. So
Right. And there's such a big card pool already, and that's what card games do. So like rotation, totally understand that. Like if set 4 comes out and they decide, hey, set 1 cards are either going to become limited or just not viable for high competitive play, that's one thing to do. Maybe set 4 is a little early for that, but like just as an example, like that I understand. Erratas shouldn't happen if you play test your games. And I understand things fall through the cracks. I understand that card game players like to break games. But I don't think Netherworld Depths is broken or inherently flawed in design, because it is still an expensive card. And I think the cost is good, and there are tons of tech cards. Again, it's about looking through your collection, looking through the card list. There are ways to easily remove Netherworld Depths from the board, and you'll still be able to keep doing what your deck wants to do. Or just play Netherworld Depths. It's fun.
Just match it. Yeah, I think the thing with erratas that I hate sometimes, it can ruin the game, right? A game I can think of, like Dragon Ball Z, right? There was so much errata in that game that it's like, it just, you continue to mess with things and mess with things. You throw everything off balance, And I've heard people complain about that for a very, very long time, especially, even Gen Con. Like, especially if you have 2 on board. I get it. I'm drawing a lot. But there's text around it, right? There's cards that you should be knowing. I mean, honestly, if you sideboard correctly and you're playing against a purple player, you're going to have some, because without depth, purple struggles a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So prepare for that. Not to mention, I've seen plenty of people win with 2 deaths on the field because you just deck your opponent out, depending on what your deck list is. You might just have to struggle that uphill battle a little bit because they're plussing, but this game is also about your resource management, right? So I can have as many cards in my hand as I want and have absolutely nothing that I need, or vice versa. I have what I need, but I've misplayed my course, or my resources are all so spread out that it doesn't matter what I have in my hand. I've heard different talks about, well, maybe there should be a hand size, in the game.
Maybe.
I can see that, but that's not what this game's about because
Right.
9 out of 10 times you're not really having that many cards. There are very few occasions where I have almost half my deck, on my hand, but I also blame that on my opponent, right? Like you're
Exactly.
purposely giving me this, so
Yeah.
if you don't have an answer for me just yet, I mean, I did it with Eric on playtesting. If I don't have answer to his depth, I'm not just blatantly just attacking because you're gonna outdraw me. You're gonna get to your
Yeah.
resources faster than I am. I'm gonna wait, play the slower paced game, wait till my burning force or wait till whatever, and eventually the game will naturally balance its way out. But this is not something where it's a broken. Sure, I could see that. It could be,
It's
it is, but is it
powerful.
overpowered? I don't think so. And
Right.
coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, where like anytime a card would come out, ban it or semi-limited or limit this, it's just like I mean, you nailed it in the nose, right? Like what you're going up against. The good player will learn how to pilot that match no matter what. Because there's other cards that are really powerful, right? I could say, Axe Spider's another one we can talk about. Durham
Yeah.
Dyna sometimes. I remember when Maduke was out, people were talking about, ban that card. That card is overpowerful.
Yeah.
What do we do? Everybody's running Dream Bombs. Nobody really complained. I mean, she's annoying still, but there's text against Maduke.
Yep.
And so the ban conversation whispered away. So
Yep.
I just think right now, it's just a mixture. It's real easy to gravitate to a card that everybody's seeing play. And I get most of the consensus from players that, like I said, I mentioned earlier, most decks now have a core of 8 cards automatically that you have, right? It's either 4 deaths, 4 burning force, maybe I say more, maybe a few absolute ice shields, right?
Sure.
And then you build around your deck is around that. So I get where that takes away some of the fun out of building a deck or the different variety of decks, right? But I think there still is enough differences in decks, even with depths being put in, that depths will do things differently for each color, right? For yellow, it's drawing different type of things than what does for purple, right? Purple, you might get into your absolute ice shields, your deadly balances, maybe set up your backlist cursed dragon. But it's definitely not a card that I say I never played against depths and be like, man, I'm gonna lose this game because they have depths. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say they're gonna out resource me, but it's been times where I still have beaten people that have 2 depths on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, you just gotta learn how to pilot, and I feel like sometimes us players, like, instead of really like getting competitively and like look into it, what can I do to work around it, or how can I smart this? It's like chess, right? How can I smart this thing right in front of me and still get the win? It's easier just to say, ban it, give me the easy route, let me just go
Yeah.
this way.
Or like this
Yeah.
is very contradictory to what I want to do in this game, therefore it's bad. It's not
Right.
true. And if I can real quick just talk about errata as far as like games in a sense, like I think it's really
Yeah.
unhealthy and it can kill new games. And I have a Keyforge example. Is anybody surprised? There was
No.
a
The king of Keyforge.
yeah, yeah. The king who went 0-2 at Nats. But my thing about Keyforge is I think there was a jump the gun kind of errata made in the first set of Keyforge that I think ruined a large percent of the player base. And by large, I mean probably like 8 to 10% of people who were playing really hard in that first set left the game and never came back because of this decision. There is a combo in the early days of Keyforge where you play a card and for the rest of your turn, every time you play a card, you draw a card. And it was showing up in decks where you could pop an artifact and put that card back into your hand to play it a second time, stacking the effect. Essentially doing an infinite loop into what's called the rule of 6 in Keyforge, where you can only play or use the same named card 6 times in a turn. So people were one turn killing, right? They would play this very specific decks because, again, it's randomly generated. So if you got these decks, they were really, really powerful and considered, like sought after on the secondary market. So you pick up your whole deck, you play a card that lets you play cards out of house, you forge 3 keys in 1 turn. That's crazy. That is crazy, and it's powerful, but that, to me, was what made Keyforge so cool. You opened this deck for $10, and you have this incredible combo that you have to build towards. And rather than letting this new game breathe a little bit and get people excited that they could potentially find a deck like that, they go, this card gets purged the first time you play it, and purge is like banish, it gets removed. So all of these decks that people were like selling for $1,000 and buying now had new rules that weren't written on the card itself, first set of the game, and they never looked back. They sold their entire collection. They're like, I'm done. I have a deck with my name that had that combo in it. I didn't even realize it at first. And I played it more after the errata because no one was expecting those cards, and it's still a good combo. But it let me open up like different routes through that deck, and it's like one of the top 20. I think it's in the top 20 like most chained decks. So that means like I won with that deck handicapped more often than like any other deck could. And I won't get into all of that, but my point is erratas, especially like for Battle Spirits with only 2 sets out, if you're errata or putting errata on these cards that get people excited about the game or that people spend money on, like imagine if they took away the burst of put life back from Absolute Ice Shield and people are buying these SPR Ice Shields for $40 or well, way more. Like people would be pissed. And if you do that with Netherworlds, which, you know, is still a cheap card, people are going to get mad. And then it's like every time you introduce a new player and they find this cool card and they're not up to speed on the errata, you have to shoot them down face to face with them across the table and be like, that card doesn't work that way anymore. So your entire deck that you built it around, it doesn't work that way. And then they're not going to have fun.
Too, though. Yeah, like a couple good things. Like this is only set 2. Like
you
still have 2 more sets. We don't even know. I mean, exciting spoilers will start like in 5 weeks or 6 weeks, but set 3, we don't even know. I mean, the lore set, but we'll see what that does. But at least for set 3, right? We don't even know what cards are going to be in there, or if there's going to be what magic cards, or what Nexus might contradict, or maybe there's a limit. Maybe there is a card that limits your opponent can only have this many cards in hand when this is in play, or something like that, right? So that it's too early to be like that. Now, if we go like a whole year and there's and there wasn't enough tech to get rid of this Nexus, I would get the point of like ban it, right?
Sure.
But we have so many different way outs to kill that you can run 4 copies of, or side more in on turn or on game 2 if you're still struggling to get rid of it. And you talk about Keyforge, I can compare, when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Necros. I mean, I don't know if anybody played Yu-Gi-Oh! And Necros literally got to the point when it came out that it was a tier 0 deck. That's how good and consistent it was, and it was like, that was an overpowerful deck. But there still at that time, I beat it with other decks that were Necros. I mean, I played it for a while just to see what a mirror match was like. And it's a fun deck,
Yeah.
But there were other decks that I played that were either tier 1 or tier 2 that you still win, because at the end of the day, like, you can buy the most expensive deck, you can be a whale, do whatever. It's how you pilot that deck. Do you put the practice in? Do you know when to correctly, in this game, do you know when to correctly play this Burning Force? Yeah, there might be 2 spirits right there that are giving you problems, but knowing what your opponent has, are you going to waste that Burning Force on those 2 spirits, or are you going to wait for the deaths to pop out? Right. That's where resource management comes in, right? Yeah. And that's the one good thing about this game, and I think that's what helps a really good player accelerate their games to the next level. It's like, I know this is coming up, I'm going to hold this till later on. I think I did it to Eric not so long ago when we were playtesting, that you said, oh, the Burning Force got me. I was like, yeah, and I even told him, I was going to use it at this point, but I held it on for this exact moment, and it won me the game.
Yeah.
Like, and that is what
becomes a skill check.
That's what really sets players apart, right? And it's real easy to blame cards. Like you guys have all said, I think a lot of people that are on our side, I guess you could say, have said the same thing. If it ain't this card, it's the next one. And if we're gonna constantly ban every single card that's annoying or good, or might give a certain deck a certain edge at sometimes, then what's the point of playing the game? Like, I mean, and I hear this a lot with any game. I mean, it's any game. Overwatch, Hearthstone. Oh, this is cards OP. Dude, there's ways around it. There's enough, and those games have enough cards in the game already that there is more options, right? Where this game is only on set 2. Right. I mean, I don't know what the card pool is. What, maybe 400 cards altogether, something around that range. Yeah. So I mean, relax. Like Aaron Rodgers said a long time. RELAX, relax. And, there'll be some answers to it,
I do think that errata can be a really cool tool for digital only games, because you can errata something and then it just updates. For physical games, I don't like it, because now the cards don't do what they say they do.
Yeah. Let me pull out my scroll and read. All right, I think it does this now.
Yeah,
because
exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, in order to know how to play this game, you have to go to this website and read this Google Doc.
Yeah, just print it out.
And
just
again,
print it out and highlight.
Yeah, for new players, like, no one's gonna want to do that, and most of the time they're not gonna know to do that. Like,
Yep.
that's such a bummer. And I, again, we were talking about Pokemon Unite at the top of the show. And I sent a tweet, a stupid tweet. You know, sometimes I go off. It doesn't matter. No one follows me.
You sent out an X.
Oh, that's right. I X'd something earlier, and I was just like, I think people who are mad about Mewtwo and Pokemon Unite are just bad. And like, I'm joking. I honestly, yeah, I'm trolling. I don't want to be that guy, but I was just fed up with it a little bit. And so like, I almost just said the people that are mad about Netherworld devs are probably just bad at the game, but they're not. And I don't believe that. I'm just saying that there is a skill level there to Netherworld depths. And so I think the people that are really crying foul play about this, one, don't play purple, are probably sick of seeing a lot of purple, which that's fine. I get it. It is a powerful card, but three, like, just use it as a learning tool and elevate your game a little bit, and you're going to feel really, really good about how you beat Netherworld depths. Like, back to Keyforge, there's a really good combo. There's a really famous deck. It sold for $3,600 recently. The night before I left for Gen Con, I played against that deck online, just in the competitive queue on the Crucible. I played against it. I'd never played against it before, but I won. And like, that's a good feeling. Like, I have heard about this deck, and so I knew what to look for. I knew how to pilot my deck and how to shut that combo off, or at least get out of range for it to hurt me. And I did it. The guy piloting it sent an early GG in the chat too, because it does win a lot. It's a very valuable deck, but you can get around those cards.
Dude, that gives you so much more like pleasure. I love when people like emote early, or like, oh, I got this. I remember, oh my god, I love it. And then not to be this guy, but I do it sometimes. Like, I'd be like, good game. You know, they get mad at you. But it's just like, but to your point though, you know, it's, I mean, how many months? I mean, a few months ago, people were complaining about Dual Eagle. Then they were complaining about Axe Spider. And now Axe Spider's like, oh, okay, play Axe Spider, Thorn Prison, or do this. Like, whatever. It's not that big a 3-bomb. It's not a big threat.
Yeah.
And it's just, a lot of times, you know, and we keep repeating it, like, there's enough out there where either the cards are there to deal with those kind of situations, or it's just based on your own skill level or enough knowledge of the game, right? And I think Eric touched on it before. That's why it's very important to play other decks, right? Even if you don't like the deck style, you know what the deck's trying to do. So then you learn, well, when you're playing your deck, what cards to use at what time, because you know what combo they're trying to do. And a lot of times with card games, people think it's like, I'm just trying to get what I got to do. No, it's literally chess. Like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, but now I see you playing this, so now I have to change my strategy and react to you, stop you from your combo, and then somehow try to figure out a way to navigate back to my combo, you know? Sometimes I might, you know, for purple, I'm a purple player, so I just say, I'm going to have to play my Curse Dragon a little bit early just to pop up a couple annoying things, and it helps draw into my other one for the backlist Curse Dragon, you know? You have to adapt with whatever the game state is. You can't keep sticking to the same game plan. So if somebody has 2 depths out, then you need to slow your roll, not keep pushing for damage, because of course you're hitting. They're not doing that, and the card's doing it, right? But you're doing it because all the card says is
a good point.
When it's exhausted. So if you're choosing to attack me with 4 or 5, 6 spirits, that's on you, bro. Yeah. That's on you, you know? So when that's game, you know, that's your fault. So
there's perfect information on the table that tells them what's going to happen if they do that. So I agree. I think if you're annoyed by Netherworld depths, pick up a purple deck or pick up a white purple deck and play it. Just play it a ton and see what situations it feels really tough without the depths, or with, you know, missing certain pieces. And then when you're sitting on the other side of the table for the deck, now you're like, okay, if they play their Netherworld depths at this point, I can punish them by not swinging in and kind of chilling and then waiting for my Burning Force to show up, or waiting for them to swing in, and I can Dream Bomb the depths, and then next turn I make my counter attack because now the depths is gone and they don't get all that draw power. Like, just learning that matchup and really figuring it out. Now, if they ban depths, like, I'm not going to be super upset. Like, I'm not going to like quit playing Battle Spirits or anything. Like, I'll just be like, okay, I don't know that, but I guess we'll adjust.
Sure.
I don't like bans. I also don't like limits. We haven't really talked about this yet. Like, limits and restrictions where you drop a card, like, oh, now you can only play one of this. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! limited and semi-limited. So it's like limited is you can play one,
Annoying.
semi-limited you can play two, and it's like at that point, really all you're doing is rewarding someone with like RNG, and they drew the one copy of this card. Like just ban it. And in fact, yeah, if you're gonna limit something, just ban it. But Netrunner did something that I thought was like genius with limiting cards. They did this thing called the NAPD Most Wanted, and so they took the lore of the put it into the banned list. So it was like the like police in the Netrunner universe were like cracking down on the cyber criminals and like putting them away in prison. And so certain cards got banned, and then other cards, what they did is they restricted them. They took like the most like degenerate combo pieces and put them all on this one restricted list. And what you're allowed to do with your deck is you can play one of the cards from the restricted list in your deck, but a full play set of them. So if there's two, let's say there's a 2-card or a 3-card or something, right? Like let's say 2-card combo, just keep it. This card is really good on its own, and this together they like break the game.
Right.
What they would do is they'd place both of them on the wanted list. You could only play one of them, so you'd pick which one it was that fit your deck style more, but you could not play it with the combo. But you could still play a full play set of this other card, restricted or banned. And I actually really quite liked that, because it sort of, whenever you were building your deck, a lot of the most powerful cards in the game were on the restricted list. And so you had to think like, what's the one card from I want to play set? Which one? It almost kind of made them like super premium cards. And it was like, which of the super playing with in my deck? And I actually really like that solution. I don't know if that's what would work for Battle Spirits. I actually think my favorite solution to this kind of stuff is just rotation. I personally think it's really nice to refresh the game. Like every I don't want it to be super quick, but I do like when I played Magic, I liked that if there was this really annoying card, I could step away from the game, maybe not touch it as much, and then come back like a couple months later and that and I always thought that was very nice. Or, you know, even if maybe that card's annoying, but I have, okay, in 3 months that card is going to rotate out, and now we don't have to play with it anymore.
Yeah, it's like pruning back some bushes. You know, you cut off you keep it the same kind of like neat and tidy thing, and you're getting rid of some of the older stuff to bring in some newer stuff, and it keeps things fresh. It's good.
I mean,
and it encourages people to play with the new cards over the old cards, because they can't play with the old cards.
And
but
I would argue,
does suck
that like,
Sorry, it does suck because your older cards now
are kind of worthless.
But you know what comes out of that is like new ways to play the game. There's going to be like a legacy format where like you can play anything. And that's kind of fun. But
expansive. The only thing I was going to say was, I mean, for people to think that devs is so overpowered, I mean, just look at the history of the last few grand openings. Not the most recent ones, but there's been decks that have won grand opens, right? 400 plus players that don't even run devs in their deck.
Yeah.
So if a card is that overpowered, why is not always the number one card? You know, it's just it's a very good card. And you know, I was gonna say too, like devs, you can get punished for playing devs, right? And you give a lot of information out. If I'm playing devs on turn 2, right? If I go to my zero cost elemental, sack them, play devs for 5 cores, that's probably telling you 2 things, right? I don't have a lot of good cards in my hand, so I need the steps to be on here. So that tells you 1, don't attack me right off the bat because you're giving me what I want. Or 2, you can punish me if you have Burning Force in the hand. Now I just wasted that whole turn, and now I have nothing. And now you also know that I don't have cards in my hand, that I needed those draws. So it gives you clear information, you know. But like I said, I've seen a lot of times where like turn 2 I'll play devs, and then people go wide and attack. I'm like, all right, dude, now you gave me all the answers I needed. So now turn whatever. Usually as a purple player, I want to go down to 3 to 2 lives anyways. So now I got cores and I have all the cards I needed that now I'm gonna run this game out of your hands. So it's just about how you play the game. So I don't think it's that powerful. That's my take on it. Don't ban it. Rotate it out. You know, do like Pokemon does. Like, hey, in this set, cards that have whatever from this set through this set are not gonna be playable no more, and that's fine. Whatever.
I think that's, especially for a game that's like this, that's probably what's going to happen, and I think that's healthy. I think it's fine for a game to
It's
do
just
that.
so early. It's just so
It
early, man.
is.
Like
Yeah,
I said, the card
that's the
pool
bottom
is.
line.
I'm
We
gonna
don't
have to
have
look at the
blue
card pool
yet.
because now I'm curious what the card pool is. But honestly, we're talking about banning cards for a game that only has 400, maybe let's just say 450
Yeah.
cards. Like it's so early. Like let blue come out, and now before step 4, if that's still a problem because whatever blue doesn't have an answer. Okay, then maybe we can talk that conversation. But there's been so many other decks topping, even whether it's online or different type of events, that if I remember their deck list, don't even have depths, right? They're either all red or
Yeah.
I mean, obviously if it's playing purple, you're gonna have depths. That's just part of the deck, like. But apart from that, like, I don't know. I mean, I get the frustration. I get it's an annoying card to deal with. But any card game, whether it's digital or not, it's gonna have an annoying card that once you see it, it's like, God dang, I'm gonna have to play around this right now. It's
Yeah.
like, but just part of the fun. It's just like, can you outsmart the opponent? And sometimes your opponent plays it wrong, right? Like they either forget to draw or you're getting way too much draw. And like I said, drawing in this game, yeah, it's a big deal, but it's also the cores. To me, having
Right.
cores is what matters because you can have all the cards. It's happened to me. I can have all the cards in the world, but I don't have enough cores to do anything with them. That I still lose. Like, okay, yeah, you got it. So
Yeah. I think that's all very, very good. I think the main takeaways, the base underlying thing is relax. Don't cause a stink.
relax.
Don't cause a stink. Don't try to ban cards before we even have all 6 colors.
It hasn't been a year yet.
Yeah, it hasn't even been a year yet. I guarantee set 3 is going to have like more of this like very specific conditional stuff like King Vulture, where it's like your opponent selects one of their nexus that costs 3 or 6 and destroys
Or I'm
it.
sure blue will have some ridiculous mail card or dump your opponents. They would ban that card. Just like, I mean, relax.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Let the meta settle. Let things settle. Let the creative people come up with different strategies. Or like I said, we all said it here, I think here multiple times. They are called tech cards for a reason.
Yep.
Tech against whatever you're struggling with.
And
That's
yeah,
like with anything.
And it's designed that way. They know what they're doing when they write these cards down, especially Battle Spirits. I am really impressed with all these interactions, and like that's the whole point. They make these cards so the better players that are going to rise above and win these grand opens are already knowing exactly what happens if a depth comes down on the table. And if you don't learn, that's it. Yep. Get better at the game. We talk about chess, and I think oh man, I was thinking of another game that I think is like really, really good for card game players to play. That's not a card game, but chess especially, man, because if you get really deep into it, there are opening moves, right? There are patterns that you automatically start with all the time. So like that can happen in card games, like turn 1, Worker Ant-Man, boom. That's not a problem. No one's wanting to ban Worker Ant-Man, but it might be one of the best cards in the game. Might be one of the best turn 1 cards ever. If you're going second. Yeah. And like you can do that every game, but it's what happens after the start that you can never 100% know what's going to happen. And that's where I think card game players get really pissed off, is because they min-max all the time and they know all these percentages and they know their draw rates, they know their mulligans, they know all of this. And when they lose, they can't fathom it. But every time you sit down to play a card game that is 2 players, you have a 50% chance of winning and a 50% chance of losing. That's
it's like anything.
it.
I mean, it's like anything competitive. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm a big sports guy. Like football. Let's talk football.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, he's a super good quarterback. You think the teams are saying sideline him, bring in the backup? Like you just adjust against that team, right?
Yeah.
Increase
Watch
my
the
defense, or rush the tape, run different routes, or you know what he's gonna do. You prepare for that. That's why they go practice. So it's the same thing. If your deck is struggling against devs, then maybe it's just the matchup. That matchup's gonna be a little bit tougher for you. Then you sideboard cards or you prepare your sideboard for just that specific matchup. That's what I did in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I wasn't worried about any other deck, but if I was like road decks or mirror match, I would specifically just side my cards just for that one matchup, and I did fine. It might have been a longer game, a lot more brain power to like, oh my god, and that's where the analytical part of it comes in. Like, all right, he's played this, he probably has 2 more of this, he's going for this. But that is part of the game, and I get it, new players, it's a fun game. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about if you're playing competitive, you cannot complain about cards that are overpowered because that's the whole point of being competitive, right? It's
Yeah.
one, can you outplay the card? Can you outplay the opponent? Can you pilot deck better? Or sometimes it really is just, can I get into my desk before you can get into your desk? And at that point, like you said, that's 50-50. I mean, that's just the luck of the draw based on, how many, what your deck size is. Are you playing 50 cards? Are you playing 52 cards, 54 cards? And that's just the nature of the game. I mean, it is literally a card game. It's how you shuffle, how it cuts, and how the cards stack up.
Yep.
Heart of the cards, baby. It's whatever is
right.
gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So
Yeah. RNG is
How
a
many
real
people-
thing, man.
How many people do you think are like screaming at us from the other side of their phone right now?
probably a lot.
I-
I
like-
hope
look,
people
and
that
I- and I'll
listen
say
to
this.
us get it.
And I'm gonna say this is all in my opinion, obviously. It's all our
Yeah.
opinions. We're nobody. My humble opinion is that I don't think the card's at a level where it needs to be banned. At least just yet. Like I said, let it give it a year.
Yeah.
And if it's topping every single time and every deck is running, okay.
Yeah.
Every deck usually runs
Yeah.
Burning Force. And you can argue, well, people run Burning Force to counter devs. Okay. I mean, that is what card games are supposed to do. When I was playing any other game, if I put a card into my deck, it's to counter that Marvel Snap. I don't know if anybody plays Marvel Snap
Yes.
or Hearthstone. Even Marvel Snap, it's the quickest game. It's 6 rounds,
Yeah.
sometimes 7 if they play a certain card. But it is 6 rounds, probably 5 minutes a game, if that. There's even cards there that you only put in there to counter certain things.
Yeah, I run Shang-Chi all the time because people go for high power. They always will. And even if it's a move deck, I'm slotting Shang-Chi to kill things, and that's what tech is, like you just said.
Yep.
Yeah, just you gotta
I forget
play
the
around.
name, but I run the Piggy Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's gonna take out your biggest effect.
People
that
were
you have
so
in your
mad
hand.
about Spider-Man.
And, oh my god, they hate that card. But the point of that is there's always cards to counter other cards. It's just a matter of when you have them. Or guess what? If you misplayed your Burning Force or your Dream Bomb early on to counter something else, don't be mad when you don't have it because you should have known. Your strategy should have been, this card's gonna be a problem for me. Let me save my resources for this.
Yep, let me get there. Let me get to it. If it becomes a problem, Eric and I talk a lot about. I forget who exactly it came from. Eric might be able to tell me, but it's the make.
Oh, you're talking about?
Make them have it.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Make them have it. Make them have your answer, and that's what people who are playing Netherworld Depths are doing. And the people who are complaining about Netherworld Depths, they're making you have it, and you don't have it, so you're gonna lose to it.
Yeah. That's a Covert Go Blue. He's a Magic the Gathering
Thank you.
streamer and YouTuber. He that's a thing he says all the time. Make him
blew my
have it
mind.
because he's always just well, I could play this, but then they could kill it if they have this thing. And then he was like, and then I think we lose. And then he'd sit there and think about it. He'd be like, well, make him have it.
Send it, man. Go on to the next game. Yeah.
We'll send if they have this one card that I'm worried about, then that sucks. But make them have it. There's 4 copies of this card in their deck. They've already used 1, so there's 3 more. They have 4 cards in hand. It could be there. But if they don't have it, this is a really good play.
Yep.
So and you're right. That's what people are doing with Netherworld. Is that when you play, that's kind of what Angel was saying. When you play Netherworld Depths with the Amethystis, you throw down Amethystis, you play Netherworld Depths, you sack it, you play Netherworld Depths for 5. You are betting that your opponent does not have the Burning Force to follow up.
Or King
that's kind of
Vulture.
the gamble that you're taking is that they don't have it.
Yep.
They don't have an answer to this. And if they do, that sucks, but that's card games, baby.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at this. You can't tell me right now that because of devs, the game's unplayable.
Yep.
This is not.
Agreed.
It's not. It'd be this ain't. And once again, I'm bringing it up again because I came from Yu-Gi-Oh and I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, and I love it and I hate it. It's
Now,
not
if you want
at
to talk
the
about an
point-
unplayable game,
Well, yeah, I'm gonna say it's not at the point where all right.
never mind. I'm
it's turn one,
sorry.
turn
I'm
two.
sorry, Yu-Gi-Oh players.
You're getting
No,
hate
you're
mail.
good, but it's true though, right? You're not at a point with the game where if I draw and I don't have an answer, I'm just gonna scoop because I know I can't do anything. If I don't have the hand traps in Yu-Gi-Oh, that is an unplayable game, or because of an unplayable deck or unplayable whatever. Death is not like that. You can
Not
play
even
Death what you
close.
want. You might not draw into it. The game is very playable. You can kind of climb yourself out of it. You might be dirty as hell when you climb out of it, but you can still win. So it's just, I don't know, man. us gamers, man, that's just how we are. We just kind of
Yeah.
get rowdy. Ban this, and it happens in every game. So that's why I just laugh about it because we all find a niche and then complain about it, and it's okay. I mean, it's okay to complain. By all means, you can complain. In my opinion, I don't think it's to the point where it needs to be. Just like you have the right to complain. I'm just gonna say, I have the right to say I don't think that card's that. It's broken, maybe, but it's not that powerful where you can say the game's unplayable if I see deaths. No, you can still climb out of it. So.
Or Mewtwo in center. Or in any lane, Mewtwo. Man. Like,
Or Necros or Control Priest, like whatever.
Or Martian Generosity Key Abduction. Come on, man.
I think that at the end of the day, none of us are against banning cards, but I think we all kind of feel like it's not time yet for that.
Yeah.
Like I'm totally open to if like by set 5 every deck is running 4 copies of Netherworld Depths still. It's like okay, we should probably ban it. Or like I just picked set 5 as an arbitrary number.
Right.
It could happen set 4, set 3, whatever. But like if it gets to a point where I don't know, like I think in set 5 people will still be playing Absolute Ice Shield. That anybody's going to be calling for a ban on that card. So
like we're never going to see that card rotate out unless it's forcibly removed, like rotation. And then something else there's already cards that that we've talked about that can slot in instead of Absolute Ice Shield, and that's just healthy for the game because people aren't expecting it. It keeps people on their toes. It makes you that's the fun of it, right? It's figuring out stuff. I think anyway.
Yeah. I think it's like a puzzle, right? And like I said, Devs does, its effect is crazy, but it's not Devs that does that. I mean, it does, but what I'm saying is like you attacking, you're forcing that effect to go off, and it's you attacking is forcing you to get the opponent to get ahead of you because your purpose is going to. It's no different like, oh my god, I'm down to 1 life every time. But if I'm playing against an aggro deck, then you probably should be attacking with all your spirits, right? Like you should probably be prepping for that because you already know, and that's why there is a best 2 out of 3, right? Like game 1, they might have it, perfect, but now you have enough information, ideally, to depending what tech card you chose on your side, and that's where being a good player comes into play, right? It's analyzing every card that's currently available in your pool and trying different things and play testing and practicing to know your ways and outs out of a deck or even your own deck, right? Like ins and out. Like if you know on game 1 it's getting too far ahead and you're not gonna be able to get out of it based on what you've drawn. Just scoop, go to game 2, side, save your time on Grand Opens. Save that overtime time so you don't have to say, oh, they're cheating because they're stalling on game 1. Well, that's where you have control of that. You should know. If you grind that whole game out and your opponent has like 40 cards in their hand, that's like your own fault. Like they're gonna definitely out-resource you with 40 cards, depending on how many cores they have. But that's it. I mean, I'll leave it at that. So
I think we can probably close that down because all we're doing now is kind of circling the drain and throwing out different analogies. And I love that, but like, I mean, we're all on the same
mowing the
page
lawn
here.
in tall socks,
It's like
kind of
take your
like
socks
boarding
off.
a Spirit Airlines flight,
Oh my god, yeah, turbulence, baby. Those pilots graduated overnight and online, like Jesus.
If good advice for these other episodes that we've done so far are make them have it. I think in the Netherworld Depths conversation, it's have it. If you're worried about Netherworld Depths, they're making you have it. So have it. That's it. That's really the bottom line. If you want to play this game competitively, like Angel said, you got to know what those competitive cards are, and you have to know what your counters are and your matchups. Is there anything else we want to add to the end of that, or should we get out of here?
Champ or chump?
Champ or chump? Netherworld Depths. Champ.
Big champ for me.
Big champ.
It's a champ. It was always a champ. It just has more eyes on it now.
Yeah.
Well, Angel, I'm excited for us to head off to the Grand Open. I understand that actually you wrote us a little sing for us. Cam, can you get a beat going for me really quick?
What is happening?
Can you just do a beat for me?
Okay.
Just get a beat going.
No bad luck this time. No bad luck this time. No bad luck this time. No bad luck.
I like it.
No bad luck this time.
No bad luck this time, guys.
I need that before my next Keyforge event.
That's gonna be my motto on my shirt. Like, no bad luck this time.
No bad luck this time. It's so good.
It was so annoying to figure out how to do that. Anyways, that's it for me. That's all I wanted to get that in at some point. So if you stuck around to the very end, I hope you enjoyed that.
I love it.
If you see me at the Grand Open, no bad luck this time. Just tell me that.
No bad
I know
luck
you
this
watched.
time.
I know you watched or heard the podcast, so that's good.
All right. Well, thank you all again for tuning in to another episode here of Absolute BSS. A little spicy one this time. We worked out some demons. But join the
Heat wave.
Discord.
This might be the first episode where we get negative YouTube comments.
Yeah,
so not to encourage you, but
right.
Right.
I'm excited to see if that happens, honestly. But if you're sticking around, if you didn't turn us off as soon as we said that Netherworld Depth shouldn't be banned, join the Discord. Let's talk out some more about this game that we all love and some other games too. We're having a lot of fun. So thank you to everyone who's leaving YouTube comments, subscribing to the YouTube. At 100 subscribers, Eric and I are going to do battle shots. Saga. So,
I think Angel has agreed to.
And
do
Angel's
that
going to
with
get
us
in on that too? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I'll join. Yeah, I'm with it.
So just subscribe to the YouTube, join the Discord, hang out with us. You can find us at Absolute BSS Pod on Twitter, on YouTube, and so just thank you for interacting with us. I put up little polls and questions on the Spotify too, and I really like seeing people answer that. So shout out to Ryan real quick for answering those polls. I really love just seeing what you guys have to say about it. And links and everything are in the descriptions down below. So Angel, Eric, thank you again as per usual for joining me today.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll catch you all next time. Post Grand Open in Tulsa. Good luck, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All
Hopefully
right.
we don't get beat up by the angry death players.
That's right. No.
No bad luck this time.
No bad luck this time.
All right. We'll catch
right,
you all
see you,
next
everybody.
time.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.